My first question is about the movie and how accurate the movie was. Like, how much of a role did you play in it?
Well, I was very honored to be part of it, and it was important to me that I got to see it through as this continuation of the legacy of my story. That it was important to me that it was authentic, and that as much as I could help make that happen, that was also a lot of fun to be a part of making a movie. That working with James, as well as all the department heads, with Danny Boyle, the screenwriter, to adapt my book from what was the most authentic portrayal of my experience, and then take it and make it into a cinematic experience as well, because I think you end up always having a trade-off. Make a really great film, make something that's very factual and genuine, and sometimes you have a hard time balancing that, but I think they did a really fantastic job doing that. That it was an exceptional movie experience, as well as it was something that, for me, it takes people through that week of my life. I have a hard time imagining how it could have been any more effective. Without people like losing limbs, in the audience. So it was a privilege and an honor, like I said, to be a part of it, and that I felt like they just exceeded all of my hopes and expectations.
So how did it feel going back to the exact spot and replaying it in this movie? What kind of emotion did you have in that?
There were times where it was more intense, and there were also times where it was fun, and then there were moments where it was totally surreal, where watching someone more or less of my build, haircut, wearing my clothes, pretending to cut his arm off, like blood everywhere in the real canyon. Like when we were there, and that next to the real rock. It was kind of like being a ghost inside of my own experience, of my own memory of that time, somehow inhabiting, like being able to watch from a different point of view. That it was kind of trippy. I mean, like that. There were times being around the set that it was walking into the little room in this huge movie set where the prosthetics expert was working out all of the fake arms that James would wear and then would amputate, right? So, except they don't just do it once, so they've got to have, 15, 20 arms that are all hanging like on hooks. Like it's like, bizarre, like meat locker kind of thing. Really, it's Hannibal Lecter's fantasy room. It was very odd kind of moments like that, like walking into the wardrobe, and it's like seeing my closet, but exploded and multiplied, like cloned in so many ways. It had a very profound effect then, like for my mom to come to the set and see the replicated canyon even that they had, that was the exact canyon. They had taken cast molded walls and made this fake canyon, but it was the exact canyon where I was trapped. So and as far as she's never been in a slot canyon, so to her it wouldn't have necessarily mattered, but to know that it was that real, I think had a very profound effect on her. It was chilling for her and for some of my friends to see it as well. That they also had a great time, taking pictures and cozying up around the video display monitors while the shoots were happening, so they could watch and see what's going on in the little video village. Great experiences all around with it, and they got to be in the movie too. There was the scene at the end, and so we joke.
That was your real.
Yeah, it's actually got that couch, the final scenes of the film. It's got my real friends and family around that couch. They like to tease about how they starred in an Oscar-nominated film.
I would understand that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Wow. Yeah. So, what was life like adjusting after that? And beyond just like physically adjusting to losing your hand, and how did your family adjust? How did it affect them?
It was, in the beginning, a huge interruption of their lives, as well as this dramatic change for me. The rehab, all of the therapy appointments, getting just physically better again. It took months. And so like I was sleeping on the fold out couch in the living room. They're having to just put everything on hold in order to take care of me again. It was kind of like being born again from infancy all the way up through adolescence, where I'm asking my dad if I can, borrow the keys to the truck. It's my truck. I mean, I own it, but I have to ask permission to go out because I was also on a lot of painkillers, and he wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be, out there on OxyContin driving around the neighborhood, in people's yards or whatever. I don't know. It was, going for that test drive with my dad. Like, what am I, 15 again? And all the way up through moving out and to get back to Aspen where I was living and I could get back to my life. So there was a tremendous change, everything from learning how to write left-handed. I had been right-handed, so the changes of having to adapt to not having my dominant hand anymore, to using a prosthetic, to learning how to, all of the various like outdoor activities that I enjoy so much. Everything was changed, and yet in some ways I also felt more emboldened. I'm not sure that was exactly the lesson that I was supposed to learn, but if that didn't stop me, what is going to stop me? So might as well just keep trying, and maybe in a way I had even more to prove, to try to show that I was capable still in my life. So I had a lot to go through, and I was grateful for the support of my family, of course, my friends who re-mentored me through all of those new experiences. The old experiences made new just because it's different with one hand, and all the way up to where I finally came to understand, like, I don't really have anything to prove anymore. It's just about being with my friends, and we happen to be climbing, or that we happen to be rafting, or that we get the opportunity to go around the world and ski a big mountain peak somewhere, and that's the fun of being alive. And that was the biggest lesson for me, to shift that it's not just about the activity, and I happen to be with my friends, but it's about being with people that I care about, that I love, and that we happen to be, skiing on a particular day or going rock climbing, or like I said, it was the shift of focus, I guess, that was what kind of took over those interluding, the intermediate years, and in more recent years now that I have my son, he's 3 years old, and it's about going out with him, that I get a chance to spend time with him in the outdoors. Have such a brilliant time with him. So he's amazing, and he makes life so worthwhile that, like, if I had to do it all over again, I would cut my other hand off in order to get back to him. And that shows me a lot about the lessons that I first took from the canyon experience, how long it took to implement them in some instances, how much of a struggle occasionally it is even today. It's a pretty big deal to understand at 27 years old that, like, it's not just about what you do that's important, Aaron, it's who you are. It's even harder then to actually make that how you live day to day. But there's a lot of rewards that comes with it too.
So do you think everything that happened, and like now, you go do these speaking engagements, and it's a huge part of your life, do you feel like it's a destiny thing? Like it all worked out to be a certain way?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I realized that everything had to happen exactly how it did for it to have played out as it has.
Right.
That, in a sense, that kind of feels like fate or destiny, like it just all came together the perfect way. But of course, we would never know otherwise. Right. I mean, there's that alternate, infinite parallel universe theory kind of thing going on. But I would end up dead in every single one of those other alternate universes except this one, the way that it worked out. So the idea of it being kind of a destiny, though, that I was headed for that no matter what, and I couldn't have avoided it. I also kind of feel that that's partly true, and yet it also was something that I chose. I created it, and as much as it was part of my journey and very much for me, I also see how it became much more meaningful than just for me, that it became this story that I got a chance that I can stand on a stage and share or speak with someone and have it go out in the newspaper, over the radio. I have a film, book, that all of these various mediums, that it goes out and it touches people, and that's how I know it wasn't just for me. It really is for everyone, because we all need that sense of encouragement that comes from knowing that, oh, look at what this person did, I might be capable of that too. We all need that reinforcement from time to time when we encounter our adversities, I call them our boulders, that these things are going to come, they're going to happen in life. And it's really helpful to have a few examples out there that we can hold on to say, like, okay, that person got through that, I can get through this. We need that inspiration, that reminder of what we're capable of, because I know what that doubt feels like too. If you had told me 10 years ago, before this happened, that I was capable of it, I would have said, no, you got the wrong guy. Like, that's not me. I mean, how could I even sit still for 6 days, let alone like survive everything that I would go through? But now I know differently, and so it's a privilege, it's a blessing that I get to do this and to help give that little spark to somebody who needs it when they're dealing with loss, trauma, grief, illness, divorce. I mean, it's like all the suffering that we all go through in our lives, and also to see that can mean something, that we can make it into something that might be a gift, not only to our lives, but to someone else's life, when that person now gets to turn around with what you've gone through and you help someone else.